What is going on, guys? I am Isaac. Today we're going to be talking about morality. 2 videos ago I have made a video advocating to being pro-life, and one of my points was that morality has to come from somewhere. And simply I said that society either has to come from God, society, governments, parents, or you. Where does morality come from? Morality is not relative. That is my argument. I said it can't be any of these things because it's arbitrary, meaning that they get to decide what is good and evil. And so that means that we get our morality by God. And now that is via the 10 Commandments and Jesus. Now a couple of you guys in the comments, boom, have pointed out to me that, guess what, Isaac? God can be different for everybody. So that claim is dumb because technically it's still all relative. Okay, guys, you guys got me. Wow. No, I believe that the Christian God gives this right here. Fundamental truth. Now you may ask me, Isaac, what is a fundamental truth, man? Let me help you see what it is. Now, is this statement right behind me? Is that true or is that false? Now, some of you that are smart might say that this is wrong. 2 plus 2 does not equal 5. If you have 2 apples and 2 apples, and if you count them, it equals 4. So now if I tell you that it equals 5 or any other number, then clearly I'm wrong. So this right here is a fundamental truth. Whether if you're Hinduism, Muslim, nihilistic, or a Christian, this equals 4. Now these are just a couple of the commandments, but killing is bad, stealing is bad, having idols is bad, having sex outside of marriage is bad, lying is bad. And in the Bible it says that these are sin. Now that's if you're underneath the law. These are the 10 Commandments. Somebody 15 minutes ago says also there is no verified evidence that there is a God. Sure, I can't prove that God exists, that's a fact, but there is evidence behind his existence. Like we got the conception of this universe, space and time, we got the morality stuff, and we got love. But listen, I'll address that in a second. My point is that these are fundamental. So Shenanigan Vatican stated, once you decided to choose God as the highest authority, a God that was imposed on us by colonizers through murder, rape, obsessive systems, you lost the plot. What about other societies that follow other gods? Ultimately, I do believe that it is society you grew up in that decides what your morality is, because that is the social contract that we have decided to follow. The great thing about our society is that we're able to debate one another and decide where that line is. Gods, quote unquote, that you have found through your culture and society are not the end all be all when it comes to authority and morality, and to use that as your main argument is lazy. See, that's where you kind of got it wrong, and how you see God is different than I do. This God that I'm referring to wasn't imposed on us by colonizers through murder, rape, and obsessive systems. This is a God about love, about loving your enemy. So about the societies that follow other gods, let's talk about it. As I said, this is what Christianity has as fundamental truth. So maybe other religions and maybe other societies think that killing is good, stealing is good, having idols is good, having sex outside of marriage is good. Maybe lying is good in their society. Because lying isn't bad, right? No, lying is good. Lying is good. Lying's great. No! There's fundamental truth here, man. You're missing the plot. As a Christian, this is the highest standard you can possibly have for your human self. I'm worshiping a God that suffered on a cross with a crown of thorns, that was mocked, that was innocent. He was spit on and slapped. And while hanging on a cross, he says, Lord, forgive them, for they not know what they do. Okay, now I am called to be like that God. So whenever I am persecuted, I am there to love my enemy no matter what. That's the highest standard you can put on somebody. So I don't care if your religion contradicts this. I think it's wrong, and it's fundamentally wrong. Cosmic Mustache 783 says, morality is relative, LOL. It's okay to kill people in war, but not at home, because they are the enemy. But the enemy, quote unquote, thinks the same thing about us. Morality has always been relative. People will move the goalpost on their morality depending on the situation. I think it's wrong to kill someone, but if my life was threatened, I would save my own life over that other person's. You have every right to say what you think is good or bad, and I have the right to agree or disagree. Just because killing is wrong is said in religious texts does not constitute it being holy or a religious value. There is some in the Mormon book text that they would consider morally right that I disagree with. Okay, first off, I'm not a Mormon, so I'm sure there's that religious text that I don't agree with either. Same thing with the Quran. Same thing with the Avatar books. Same thing with Greek mythology, which people think that's actually a religion. Same thing with witchcraft in their books. I think it's evil. I think it's wrong. Now, to address this killing part and war and whatnot, okay, there's a difference between killing and murder. Murder is taking of the innocent life away. Somebody that was doing nothing wrong, like that person on that bus that was stabbed to death and said, I got that white girl. She was doing nothing wrong to that guy. She didn't deserve to get stabbed. That's what you call murder. Now, if there is somebody, you know, shooting up a school. Now, if I'm a cop and I have my gun, I'm going to defend those people and shoot the killer. That is not murder. That is killing. That's why in our jurisdiction, they don't charge that police officer for many years for murder. No, they give him a badge of honor for how brave he was for drawing his gun and killing somebody. I mean, war in general is bad. You know, bombing people and nuking people is bad. If you think that's good, then there's something wrong with you. But now, if you have terrorist groups that are actively trying to take over the United States, do we not have the right to defend ourselves? See, that's where you should go to war. But the killing of innocent life is not acceptable. Shilu Mal... Dude, I don't even know how to say your name. This person says, well, that was 8.5 minutes of because it's against my religion and I believe in objective morality because I'm stupid and uneducated. Numbers 5:11. 31. Your God commanding an abortion for the crime of adultery. So adultery you so love to bring up. See, I'm pro-choice because I'm not okay with forcing women to be pregnant. You might be okay with war crimes, but I'm not. What? Somebody in the comments said, your education is telling. Yes, I believe in objective morality. That is right. My God does not agree with abortion. So I don't know where you're bringing that up. You gotta read the Bible in context. And I'm not forcing women to be pregnant. Did they open their legs? Yeah, but like, what about an argument saying that, you know, they use protection, they had birth control, and yet she still got pregnant, and she's broke, and she's married, and doesn't want a kid. Does that give her a right to kill the human life that's inside of her? Absolutely not. If you can't afford the baby, give it up to adoption. Now, if you say, but adoption, why would I want the baby to have a terrible life? Why the frick do you care if first off you're broke and don't have a life yourself, and second, we're just planning to kill it so it wouldn't even have a life to begin with? There's many people, foster care, that have normal lives. This whole idea of just because they're in a foster care, they're gonna be miserable their entire life. Dude, I'm sure you didn't have the perfect childhood either. You might be okay with war crimes, but I'm not. When did I say anything about war in that video? What are you talking about? Okay, so now Scooples, I'm pretty sure that's how you say your name, says, I give value to organism based off consciousness. For example, a jellyfish doesn't have the capacity to be conscious, thus I wouldn't give it much moral consideration. At around roughly 24 weeks, fetuses show signs of consciousness. Signs of consciousness is extremely vague due to the nature of consciousness, but the idea is that at one point they don't have it and one point they do. And if a fetus has the level of consciousness below that organisms with moral consideration, example, rats, lobsters, snails, I wouldn't give them much moral consideration. Anyway, I want to make it clear, I do respect your point of view, and I think this issue is definitely more nuanced than people on both sides make it out to be. Have a good day. All right, so thank you for being polite and kind. I appreciate it. There's not a lot of people like you, so thank you for having a different opinion and being able to have the self-control. So let me tell you where I disagree with your opinion. All right, class, show of hands. Who remembers when they were 5 months years old? Raise your hand. Okay, my first memory I have is when I was like 4 or 5 years old. I'm not gonna lie to you, I had zero consciousness when I was 3, 2, 1, a baby. I didn't understand anything. Does that mean I have a less moral value than a person that's 30 years old and developed and has conscious? That person's worldview, they only gain moral value when they have more conscious. And let me tell you, I don't think that's a good argument just because, you know, would you abort a baby at 9 months? Because in your worldview, they don't have any value. They are not conscious yet, so they don't mean nothing. So you'd be okay with that murder of that baby? Or a 1-year-old that's outside of the womb, or 2-year-old that's outside the womb, 3, 4, or a you know, a baby that's birthed but only 3 months old. That's a rough way to look at life, because I wouldn't go up to a pregnant lady that has a baby in her hands and be like, your baby's useless. No, I'd be like, congratulations, you got a baby. Because I know that it has value. There's some sort of value to it. But even at 8 and 9 months, 7, 6, 5? Like, you would be okay with killing the babies there? If like, okay, you say that you're pro-choice, right? Oh, I am pro-choice, yes. So that means you're okay with somebody killing a baby at 9 months? Like, it's about to come out of your vagina. I don't mean to be rude, but like, damn. Thank you, Sportian, for saying this is high quality content. You deserve more people watching this video, man. For editing, appreciate you. Hey, appreciate your video, even though I disagree on the morality point. The issues you raise with society, government, parents, and personal levels all apply to God just the same. Which God? People disagree. And if it's the Christian God, which interpretation of the Bible, Christians disagree. And if two people disagree about what God wants, how can you solve this issue? Basically, you run into the same problem if you take morality from religion, culture, family, and wherever you get it. You know, and I love that you guys, clocked me on this, because that's a very good point. Very good. I love this. I'm learning. You guys are learning. We're locking in together. Basically, if two Christians disagree with each other, we go to the source and we read it in context, and the Bible is pretty clear. It's exactly like the 2 + 2 = 4 type of situations you got going on. Yeah, I think I answered that during the beginning of this video. I've studied other religions and their gods, so I'm pretty familiar with Islam, Buddhism, Hinduism, Judaism. And as far as my research goes, there hasn't been anything to contradict Christ. I follow the law of contradiction. That means this group right here has a truth claim. So they all say that their God is the real God. We'll do this for Hinduism, some avatar people. So how do you guys figure out what the truth is? Well, my friends, we use the evidence. We have historical evidence from Christ raising from the dead. If you ask any historical scholar that studies this, they can't prove that Jesus is not real. They have to acknowledge that Jesus Christ did indeed walk this earth. And there was 500 eyewitness testimonies that saw Christ after his death, meaning that he resurrected. Now, Christ was right here in negative 2025. I think Mormonism was made in the 1950s. I could be wrong. I'm not gonna check my phone, but I think it's 1950s or 1500s. And for Christians, I collect the sources from this era here. I don't collect anything else, and I don't collect any of the tradition. Like, for example, you can also add, we'll do CC for Catholics. So Catholics, they like to add tradition. For me, I'm a Protestant Christian, which means protest Christian, meaning that I reject the tradition, praying the rosary tradition, acknowledging the saints and putting them as statues in churches. And, I reject that. Not that I hate it or, anything like that. I think, cathedrals are very cool looking. However, they just kept adding their own little things to the timeline. And then 500 years after Christ, so this is year 500 after Jesus Christ died, Islam, so we'll put Islam right here. These people were the ones to say that Jesus Christ was not God. 500 years after, that was Muhammad that had said that. But why am I going to believe Muhammad, a pedophile? Read your history, rather than going back to the source where we have the valid evidence and manuscripts. And there's so many arguments to all of this stuff, which I'm going to make another video most likely down the line and explaining more of my knowledge about all of this. So sorry, somebody was knocking at the door. It scared the hell out of me. I forgot what I was saying, but yeah, that's going to be the end of the video. Thank you guys for watching. Appreciate you guys watching. Let me know what you guys think about my claims. Why do you disagree? Talk to me. Don't be disrespectful. Subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.